Good morning, everybody. Joey here from Clearwater Creations. Today we're going to be talking about the lily pots and whether or not it's something that you should be doing with your own water lilies at home. We're going to go over some pros and cons really quick. I'm going to show you what not to do first of all, and hopefully offer you all a few quick tips on the best way to use a lily pot and whether or not you even in fact need one. So here we go. Okay, so we're looking at a couple water lilies here that were pulled out of a homeowner's pond recently doing some maintenance. So this is what not to do with your water lilies. This is essentially how not to pot them. So a couple things I'm seeing right off the bat that are wrong with these. For starters, it's the wrong pot. So these are traditional, hanging planters basically. They got holes in them, which we don't want. They're not shallow enough, and they're not just generally too small for a water lily. Okay, so as you can see, this one here, these tubers, and even these are pretty small, but they can get big as my forearm, for example, these lily tubers. So they need quite a bit of room to grow. So having a wider, shallower pot is ideal for a water lily, or you can also use the aquascape lily pots. Those are good as well. And basically what that allows you to do is to, keep the pot relatively contained, which makes it a bit easier for maintenance purposes, and it allows you to fertilize them a little bit more as well. So speaking of fertilizer, you can see these old fertilizer spikes in here. These are garbage now. We're going to be taking those out of here, and when we repot these in new pots, so we're going to take this one out of here. We're going to put some fresh aquatic soil in here. We're going to replant this lily tuber, so wherever it is, we'll find it. We'll pull out the end, and wherever the broken end is or the rotting end, we'll put against the pot. That allows it to grow this way towards the middle of the pot. And then we're just gonna, like this one, put a little bit of gravel on top to kind of keep everything at bay. It'll also keep the koi fish from digging in the pot and creating a mess. So the pots are really important for starters. We want a wider, shallower, hard shell lily tub, ideally, because these lily tubers can get large and aggressive if they get unmaintained. Okay, the other thing is it does make them easier to fertilize. So if I take you over here, I'll show you. This water lily here is not in a pot at all. I just have the tuber wedged in between the rocks there. It's probably 3 years old now, so it's not a massive water lily, and that's maybe the downfall of not being able to fertilize it. But as you can see, they still thrive. They're still alive and healthy. I still get a bloom. So you don't necessarily need a lily tub like this if you want blooms, for example. I know that's a bit of a common misconception is, if I take it out of the pot, I won't be able to fertilize it. I won't get my lilies to bloom anymore. It's not entirely true. If you have a healthy ecosystem, then you're getting a sufficient amount of nutrients into those water lilies, and they're still going to bloom. Whether or not they get as big as quickly as if they were in the pots, maybe not, but they'll still certainly be just as healthy, in my opinion. Now, the other thing about lily tubs is, after a few, depending on the water lily, I suppose, or the type of water lily, they do need to be maintained. And splitting water lilies becomes more important if you're going to be having them in pots as well. So as you can see, this one, for example, is overgrown this pot already, or it's struggling anyways, because it's stuck in this tiny little pot with not enough nutrients, and these little lily tubers are struggling a bit. So what we can do is we're going to take all this crappy soil out, again, put them in a nice, larger, shallower tub with fresh aquatic soil. We're going to actually split the crowns out of this pot here. So there's 1, 2, 3, at least 4 crowns here in this lily. We're going to split, and these cut ends, let's just say we take this one, we cut it here. We're going to take this cut end right here in the middle, and we're going to place it against the pot to allow for the tuber to grow this way towards the middle of the pot. And that is essentially what we want to do when we pot these lilies the right way. So we want to get rid of these hanging baskets. We want to get a hard shell pot. We want to get rid of those fertilizer spikes and actually use a pond fertilizer tablet and insert it right into the soil. Those are the best. That's the best way to have a lily in a pot and keep it fertilized as well. Okay, so just to reiterate a little bit, a couple of pros about using a water lily tub. It makes fertilizing a lot easier, so you can stick a pond tablet right in the soil in the aquatic tub. Again, fertilizing such a breeze. It also helps to keep the water lily a little bit more contained. If you want to keep it to specific areas, have it not grow so far into the pond, for example. And as far as cons go, you don't, if you're using a lily tub, sometimes you can see the pot a little bit, which is sometimes annoying for some people. Some people like everything to be as natural as possible, so they don't like to use any pots at all. I'm kind of like that. But on the downside, my lilies, don't grow as big as quickly as if I were to keep them in a pot and fertilize them regularly. So that's sort of the con, if you will, about not using a pot. Hopefully you find this video to be a little bit helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be doing a video as well about repotting these, so you're going to actually see me cut these water lilies up and put them in a new pot. So stay tuned for that video coming out soon as well.